Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely pumped you're joining me today because, well, we're taking a little road trip to the absolute frozen edge of our solar system. As an astronomer, literally nothing gets my heart racing quite like a discovery that forces us to completely rewrite the textbooks. And today we're looking at a world that is essentially a pristine time capsule from the exact moment our solar system was born. So let's just jump right in and explore one of the weirdest, most game-changing worlds humanity has ever seen.
I want you to picture this for a second. Imagine a world so unbelievably far away that light from our own sun, which is traveling at the fastest speed physically possible, right, takes over 6 hours just to reach the ground. We're talking about an ancient world, swallowed in darkness, that has sat there basically totally undisturbed since the literal dawn of planetary formation. It's hiding way, way out there, far beyond Pluto.
So, where exactly is out there? Well, to understand this place, we've got to mentally travel out to the true frontier. Now, we all know our usual neighborhood, right? Earth, Mars, Jupiter, out to Neptune. But past Neptune, you hit this massive, dark expanse called the Kuiper Belt. I like to think of it as a gigantic cosmic freezer. It stretches for billions of kilometers, and it's just packed with billions of these icy relics left over from 4.6 billion years ago. Pluto might be the famous kid on the block out here, but our target today? It's lurking even deeper in the deep freeze.
Get this, 6.6 billion. That is the distance in kilometers from the sun to this tiny object. 6.6 billion. Just let that sink in for a second. At that insane distance, the sun just looks like a slightly brighter star in the sky. This is literally one of the most distant objects humanity has ever sent a spacecraft to explore. It's a frozen, silent frontier that absolutely stretched the limits of what our engineering could actually do.
And just think about how totally alien this place is compared to the ground we're standing on right now. I mean, here on Earth, it's warm, we've got oceans and volcanoes, life everywhere. It's chaotic and beautiful. But out on this tiny world, which is called Arrokoth, the temperature plunges to minus 220 degrees Celsius, that's minus 360 Fahrenheit. There is absolutely no atmosphere. No liquid water anywhere, and one single year, just one trip around the sun, takes almost 300 Earth years. It is the ultimate deep freeze, the complete opposite of our cozy, fast-paced Earth.
Okay, so how did we actually manage to see this thing? The fact that we did is nothing short of an engineering miracle. The star of the show is NASA's New Horizons spacecraft. We launched it way back in January 2006, and it was one of the fastest things we've ever shot into space. Originally, the main goal was Pluto, which it buzzed right past in 2015. But around 2014, astronomers using the Hubble telescope actually spotted a brand new target even further out. It had this clunky scientific name, 2014 MU69, and New Horizons had to fly another 1.6 billion kilometers past Pluto just to catch it. Finally, on New Year's Day 2019, it arrived, and wow, did it deliver. Now, for a while, people were informally calling it Ultima Thule. But later in 2019, it got its official name, Arrokoth. It comes from the Powhatan language, the Native Americans from the Chesapeake Bay area, and it translates to sky or clouds. I absolutely love that detail. It was chosen specifically to honor humanity's relentless drive to look up and explore distant skies. It perfectly captures why we do this kind of science in the first place,
But the real shock came when those first pictures finally downloaded to Earth. Scientists were literally staring at their screens in total disbelief. Because Arrokoth wasn't just some boring potato-shaped rock. Hovering out there in the pitch black was a 36-kilometer-long cosmic snowman. I mean, it literally looks like two giant pancakes gently squished together. There's a larger lobe, which we call Ultima, and a smaller one, Thule, connected by this little narrow neck. In planetary science, we actually have a term for this kind of weird shape, a contact binary. What it means is that Ultima and Thule used to be two entirely separate objects floating around in the early solar system. But instead of slamming into each other and shattering into a million pieces, which, trust me, happens all the time in space, these two just drifted together. They merged so incredibly gently. We're talking about a collision that basically happened at the speed of someone taking a casual stroll through a park. And because it was so gentle, the shape survived perfectly intact, which makes it an unbelievable fossil. This thing is 4.5 billion years old. Now, Arrokoth might be small, like 36 kilometers end to end. You could drive across it in half an hour. But its value is all in its age. This object was born when our sun was basically a toddler, way before Earth was remotely habitable. While everything closer to the sun was getting smashed, melted, and pulled apart by gravity,
Arrokoth just totally avoided all the drama. It sat quietly in the Kuiper Belt freezer, making it a pristine, unruined time capsule from the very beginning of everything.
So as an astronomer, the obvious next question is, what on Earth, or what in space, rather, is this primitive time capsule actually made of? I mean, if we're looking at a pristine leftover from the dawn of the solar system, analyzing its chemistry is literally like opening a locked vault that's been sealed shut for 4.5 billion years.
The data New Horizons beam back was super revealing. On Arrokoth, we found water ice, frozen gases, and crucially, organic compounds and carbon-rich materials. Now, let's be totally clear here. At minus 220 degrees Celsius, there's absolutely no life on Arrokoth. No way! But finding this stuff tells us that the primordial building blocks of chemistry, the exact ingredients that might have sparked life elsewhere, are just naturally widespread out there, perfectly preserved in the deep freeze.
And if you look closely at the data, you'll notice Arrokoth's surface is pretty red, like distinctly reddish. But why? Well, even out in the dark depths of the Kuiper Belt, it's not totally shielded. For billions of years, it's been continually bombarded by ultraviolet light and cosmic rays. Over eons, that radiation literally bakes the surface, causing chemical reactions that build up complex organic molecules. So that red color? It's basically the literal rust of billions of years of cosmic weathering. Okay, so we've got a frozen, red, snowman-shaped rock sitting 6.6 billion kilometers away. It's quirky, it's cool, but why does it actually matter to us, sitting right here on the ground? Why did we spend 13 years and a whole lot of effort to fly out and see it? Well, believe it or not, this tiny rock actually settles a massive, decades-old scientific argument about how our own planet Earth was actually born.
See, for a really long time, scientists have been arguing between two main theories about how planets form. Theory A was the violent collision model, rocks smashing together at high speeds, lots of heat, lots of destruction, eventually snowballing into a planet. Theory B was much calmer. It suggested that clouds of dust and pebbles just sort of gently clumped together over time, a silent process of slow, gradual accumulation. But before Arrokoth, we just didn't have an old enough, pristine enough object to prove which one was right.
And here is where Arrokoth becomes a total game changer. Its incredibly delicate structure, those two lobes that are perfectly intact and totally unsmashed, is the smoking gun. It proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that its birth was gentle. If the violent collision theory was right, a delicate shape like this cosmic snowman would have been absolutely obliterated billions of years ago. It proves that the earliest building blocks of planets formed by slow, gentle clumping. So studying this distant rock literally teaches us how the Earth itself clumped together. It's absolutely brilliant.
Looking back at the whole New Horizons mission, the historic milestones are just wild. I mean, we got the very first close-up look at Pluto. We achieved the first ever visit to a contact binary like Arrokoth. It literally holds the record for the most distant flyby in human history. And, most importantly, it gave us a direct, up-close look at the raw, primordial ingredients of our solar system. It totally proved that the frontier of exploration doesn't stop at Pluto, it just keeps going.
And that brings us to a really profound thought to wrap things up. Arrokoth is just one tiny object among literally billions hiding out there in the cosmic freezer. As we plan future missions to go even further to check out other dwarf planets and ancient icy worlds, you have to wonder, what other secrets about our origins are just waiting out there in the dark? When we zipped past Arrokoth on New Year's Day 2019, we weren't just taking pictures of a rock. We were literally looking back in time to an era when the sun was young and the planets were barely taking shape. It's the little world that showed us how worlds begin. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep looking up, you guys. The next huge discovery might be waiting just beyond the horizon.